Cheers, people. The people. Can y'all hear me? I hope everybody can hear me. Tennessee handles business, man, on Saturday. I'm interested. Let me see. Tennessee. Hey, okay, there we are. Can y'all hear me? I think I'm in the building now. I think we have made it. We in the building, man. My bad, y'all. Technical difficulties, but the Tennessee Volunteers handled business, man, last night, Saturday, against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. But a lot of injury news out there. Dante Thornton, Nico, how are they actually? I've got some inside scoop on a couple of things, but not too wild. But again, Tennessee handles business, and now we are full-fledged into Georgia week. A Georgia team that is struggling. A Georgia team that truly is not the same Georgia of old of the last few years. What can Tennessee do to win this football game in Athens? We'll recap last night, and we're going to look all ahead, man, to the Georgia Bulldogs. Y'all know what it is, man. It's straight up Tennessee, baby. Welcome to the next day episode, Mississippi State week. But we full head of steam to Georgia. Let's go.
First play, second quarter, touchdown Tennessee. That throw's intercepted. Pierce down the sideline. Touchdown.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to Straight Up Tennessee today, man, on a Sunday. Y'all know what to do, though. It's the top of the show. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, man, so y'all never miss an episode. We're climbing, people, still climbing and still grinding. It's going to be a fun time when we hit that 1,100 number, man. We're going to do another giveaway. Still working on my man Jonas merchandise. It's going to get out to him. I can't wait till it does. So we had another guy purchase some in Grayson Riffy. Shout out to you, Grayson. Got to him a little faster, but I don't know why, but it is what it is, right? So I'm looking forward to this week, though, but obviously, y'all, we got to recap everything. Apple and Spotify, it is Monday for y'all, so what's happening, man? Hope y'all are doing well on a Monday, that you had a great weekend. Man, let me see what's going on in the chat tonight. What's up? My boy Dylan Elam in there throwing the oranges up already. Adrian's in the building. He says, "Your Tennessee Junior says, slap Beck around and force the turnover. We good." Dylan also says, blitz Carson Beck all night long. I think that's the key, y'all. I mean, I watched the Ole Miss Georgia game. We'll talk about it. Let's recap last night. Let's live for a minute. Let's reminisce. I'll be joined a little bit later by the boy C2 Turner hop on as well. We're gonna have a good conversation, but just talking about last night for a minute. You know, I thought that early, obviously the deep ball to Squirrel on fourth down, crazy call, but great call. They're playing cover two, safety kind of shaded deep to the sideline, which was super weird. But that inside guy guarding Squirrel just stayed in his zone. Nobody was in the middle of the field. Somehow Squirrel's wide open and still dove after he caught the ball. I just I don't get it, man. I don't know why that boy be falling every time he catch the ball, but he caught him a tutty and got the offense rolling early right there. I thought that was a big momentum play after Nico missed. I don't think he missed Squirrel. Maybe he did miss Squirrel. It was either Squirrel or Brew. It was Brew in the back of the end zone. Yeah, he missed Brew, threw it a little too far, missed him early. But it was nice to see Nico get going early. I mean, I think, goodness, before the injury, I felt like he was on pace for, almost 350. Like we mentioned, he would probably go get. He was being very, 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 very extremely accurate with the football. I felt like every time the ball left his hands, we were in a good position to do something with it. I mean, it never felt like he was pressing. It never really felt like he was forcing anything. Before the injury, he was 8 of 13, 174 yards, 2 tutties, no picks. I mean, he was great. Michael Van Buren Jr., on the other hand, was 10 of 26 for 92 yards. Like, he wasn't very good. And a pick. He threw a pick as well. But I thought for us defensively, man, we did not look good defensively last night. Shout out to the boy Adrian, man, for the 20 spot. Shout out to you, my boy. He said, "What's good, everyone?" Shout out to my boy Boo Carter and Dante Thornton making plays as always. Yeah. We're gonna talk about defense. We're gonna talk about specifics on offense. Trying to wait till the boys get in here, but it is what it is. I thought, defensively, we just didn't stop the run. And that's so unlike us, like that has been our bread and butter, our true mantra. I felt like all season is we will force you to stop the run. But Mississippi State gave us a taste really of our own medicine. They put us in really wide formations where we had 5 in the box and we were matched up evenly, and they ran inside zone, double teaming the tackles and were busting us wide open. I mean, Mississippi State, y'all had 179 yards rushing on us last night. Now, we had 240. Dylan Sampson, another 150-yard game. He had 149 in a tutty. Peyton Lewis came in and had some pretty good touches, 14 touches for 44 yards. Cameron Seldon saw the field. A lot of people are so, what's the word? Amused with this Cam Seldon situation. He hasn't played a lot, hasn't played well. I felt like his injury early in the season hurt him, and he got passed up. I mean, I think it's kind of that simple. I think he got passed up. Peyton Lewis is playing well. Deshaun Bishop, obviously before injury, was playing incredible. And Cam just somehow got lost in that rotation. Last night he had to play. There was no other way to put it. Cam Seldon had to play last night. And if it burned his red shirt, it is what it is. Like, he had to play. I don't know what the future looks like for Cam Seldon, but I did see him make a great run last night, late in the fourth, before we ended up kneeing it and just going into the end of regulation. But it was wild how good Mississippi State was running the ball on us. Like, we don't typically see that. We haven't seen that. No one's ran the ball well on us, but they spread us out and they just ran inside zone over and over and over and over and over again. And it was torching us. I felt like we were in bad position. We were not playing gap sound. We were not. I mean, my boy Jeremiah Thielander was getting washed out of plays like insane amounts. And Jeremiah is so physical, and I'm like, how is he getting washed? This man, he's just playing with his eyes. He's not really playing with his technique. He's playing with eyes. Like, he sees something happen and he reacts to the movement rather than just playing with your fundamentals. Like, what to do here. We don't get washed away in A gap on inside zone. We blow it up. Just blow it up. Period. So Dylan Elam says Boo Carter had a coming out party last night. Yeah, he did. Adrian also says, I hope Nico and Dante Thornton have their Alabama 2022 game against Georgia Saturday. Y'all, we're going to talk all things Georgia here in about 15-20 minutes, and we're going to end the show really talking about it because I think it's the biggest game of the year in all of college football. I hesitate to say it's a playoff eliminator for us, right? Because I think when you look at the field, Tuesday night's going to tell us a lot of how they feel. But I think when you look at the field and the guys and the teams that are in this playoff now in the bracket, Texas is in. They're going to play in the SEC championship more than likely. Pending a loss, if they lose to Texas A&M or something wild right down the stretch, that's where that kind of comes into play. Tennessee could be playing for the SEC championship. Tennessee wins out. Tennessee's playing for the SEC championship. And then it don't even matter if we lose in the SEC championship. We're in the playoff, right? But you got to get there first. And I hate to forecast. I hate to look forward, even as a fan, because, man, every year, 2022, prime example, I didn't care about that South Carolina game. I thought we was going to come out and absolutely murder South Carolina. But then we all know the results of that game. You lose your star quarterback in Hendon Hooker to an ACL injury. Nobody plays well. Jeremy Banks absolutely, puts a kind of a damper on this team before we get there. And it's just discombobulated from the start. I thought we played good in the first, few drives, but we couldn't stop anybody. And South Carolina absolutely killed us. People still think they stole our signs and all of these things. I don't know what I believe, but I know that the score was a lot to a little, and we got beat. And it ruined our playoff chances. And so I think now, obviously, with the thing opening to 12, you have way more margin for error, but those teams have to be good losses. And right now, Georgia dropped to 11 in the AP poll. You don't really like where they are. They're not playing well. Offensively, they can't run the ball. Offensively, Carson Beck is a turnover nightmare. I saw a graphic. It's like Carson Beck's last 7 games. He's thrown like 3 picks against 1, 2, 2, 0 against Auburn, and they won. He threw 3, 3, 2, and 1, and he threw 1. Obviously, the last one was last night against Ole Miss. Just a weird team. I don't know. I felt like Georgia. Again, we'll talk about Georgia like I told y'all in about 10 minutes. But I'm gonna bring my bro on. What's up, Turn? How we up, Brody? How we up? He's here, but kinda not. I don't know. We'll bring him on in a second once he's ready to rock. But here we go. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe now. Is he here? Kind of.
Are we on
Maybe.
here? We good?
Maybe. You on that McDonald's Wi-Fi, bro?
Are we good?
I feel like you're on that.
I am at my house in my bedroom, and my Wi-Fi tripping.
Boy,
bro, Wi-Fi tripping, bro.
That man got that have it your way at BK Wi-Fi. Y'all better get this man Turn. Oh, man, let's see real quick. We'll bring Turn back on in just a second. Dylan Elam in the chat says, it's one of those scenarios where you can't leave it to another human's perspective. Win out. Don't let anyone undermine us out of the playoffs. No, I agree with you. 100%. I really think this game as a whole is the Georgia game as a whole is going to define this season for us. Like, we're going to find out quickly if we're good or if we're not. I think you're in the building now, my man.
We good back. We good. I had to change my Wi-Fi. I got 2 different ones. You feel me?
I get you.
Can you hear me?
Man, I can hear you. I think you're just delayed.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I think when I speak, you hear me delayed. So, but we'll see how it goes. We're talking about Georgia. We'll talk more about Georgia in a few minutes, y'all. I know that's where we want to go with this conversation, but we do need to look back yesterday. I was talking about the defense, allowing them. I mean, we gave up 176 yards. It's 79 yards. Very unlike us. They stretched us out and did what we do to people. They ran inside zone, and was torching us. And obviously, the rest of the season, people will look at the film, but they can't just replicate that offense, right? Like, they're not going to change their entire offense to run the ball on Tennessee. But there are things that you can do within their offense to, the double teams, the quick pulls by the guard. Like, those are things that people can implement easily into their offense. But I think that now Tim Banks seeing it once, we're going to have an opportunity on Saturday to really put the nation on notice. But Turn, just looking back at Mississippi State as a whole, it felt good. It felt good to see the deep ball connect. It felt good to see Dylan Sampson is truly a dog to come back in after injury and do what he did. And I was praying that he just wasn't hurt. But aside from that, like, how did last night make you feel?
Man, honestly, you might call me crazy here when I say this, but it made me feel really good, honestly. I mean, I might have said this in Discord. I can't remember, but I said this to a buddy of mine at church this morning. I might get some hate over this. Might get my people probably disagree with me on this, but okay, I'm not saying Gaston is as good as Nico. Nowhere even close. But I think if Nico was to be out, I think if Gaston can prepare as a starter a whole week, I think he can operate the offense.
I think he can operate the offense. I don't have any issues with that. It's just I think I get worried in situational football when it's 10-7 and we're driving and now it's 3rd and 6. Like the script is gone. Like, what are we calling for Gaston Moore there? Right? Like, he ain't gonna run like Nico can at least get out of the pocket and escape. There's just a lot of things that like he just can't do that 8 can. But if we're talking, hey, I mean, I do think that you're gonna see passes in the 35s if Gaston Moore has to start a football game.
I think you're gonna have to, right? And I don't think they planned on. If you want me to be honest with you, I don't think they planned on Dylan Sampson coming back. But when Nico got hurt, it's like because we tried it without him. It's like, okay, we're gonna put Cam Seldon in, we're gonna put P. Lewis in. I think we were just. I think it's like, hey, D. Samp, like tape that junk up. You got to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is kind of Dylan said this for Turner's argument. Gaston Moore came in cold as ice and still made plays. He's been carrying an iPad all season.
That's true.
It's true. Very true.
And I don't know. He did miss one wide open guy. I don't know if you
know.
know.
It was Kisselman. It was Kisselman.
He tried to throw it deep, and that dude was running. Kisselman was naked. If he'd have just dumped it underneath.
Oh, yeah. That boy C2 in the building. What's up, C?
What up? What up? Ignore the Texas stuff in the background. This is not my house.
It's okay.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Turns just giving a kind of an argument right now of last night. You give us, man, just overall 10,000 foot view. Like, how do you feel about the performance last night? You know, obviously Nico goes down. We haven't even talked about that injury. Dante Thornton goes out, but he's fine. How did last night make you feel? Did it make you feel better, or did it make you kind of still feel like this is going to be the game that everything clicks? Like, how you feeling?
I would say it depends on which area of the game we're talking about, and if it made me feel better. Offensively, I felt better. I felt like our wide receivers did a better job overall, catching the ball, running routes typically. Offensive line, I thought played pretty good overall. It was pretty obvious Mississippi State was committed to stopping the run from the jump. I felt pretty good for the most part with our pass defense, but our run defense was suspect as all hell last night.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we talked about it a little bit in Discord last night. I felt like a lot of teams can't implement that type of play calling into their playbook. Like, you're not going to do the same thing. Like, now there are a lot of things that they did that they will do. And what I mean is you're not going to send your wide receivers, you know, just like Tennessee does, all the way out to the numbers stacked just so you can run the ball, right? Like, Georgia's not going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. But the inside zone double teams, when they send somebody in motion and they double team the tackle and then they pull a guard, right? Like, those are things that you can still implement into your offense. They kind of can. I mean, like I said this earlier before both of y'all boys got on, you know, you are starting to see the inexperience of Jeremiah Thielander getting absolutely washed. Almost, I mean, half of those big runs, he was the one getting washed.
You know, this Georgia game is very interesting to me when it comes down to what we're talking about, because our weakness on defense right now, we've all seen it the past 2 games. We've been getting gashed on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and Georgia's not running the football well at all.
Georgia's, and that's what I'm saying. Interesting to me is that our weakness is the inside run, and Georgia's just an air raid this year. I mean, Carson Beck's throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. They're not running the football. So I don't know. It's kind of like I could see. I mean, if I'm Kirby Smart, I'm coming out trying to run it down our throats, and then try to open up the pass game, commit to the run, and try to open up the pass game a little bit for Carson Beck. But I fully have confidence in our secondary. Jalen
Yeah.
McMurray made plays last night. I mean, everybody made plays last night. Those balls that they caught on Gerard McCoy. I mean, that's not terrible coverage. I mean, he's right there on.
Yeah, he was there.
It's just-
There was no doubt in my mind he was there to make plays. Couple of them, again, the guy was 10 of 26. He didn't complete a lot of balls, but a few of those, Jermont was in perfect position to make a play, but like you said, just didn't make the play, So
It's just T-Lander's just really bad at getting washed out right now instead of blowing up the gap. And Arion Carter, if you go back and watch his weakness, in my opinion, you know this if like playing football as a linebacker, your first step is always forward, right?
always.
Yeah.
Always forward. If you go back and watch Arion Carter on like some of those big long runs, he as soon as the ball snapped, he's like running his coverage.
Yeah.
Like he's
I
running.
agree with
He's running to his zone, and I'm like, man, you're going to your zone, and they're just running it. Your lateral quickness isn't quick enough to get back to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which to me it also is highlights an issue that I had with the play calling in those situations last night, because there were a few pretty clear times when they were going to run the ball and it was going to be up the middle. And instead of having our linebackers crash down on the middle, we were either bringing a corner blitz or sending our linebackers back into zone coverage. When we have them on the goal line, those linebackers should be blasting down the middle, in my opinion.
Easy. I mean, it was just like the fourth down, the fourth and goal.
Mm-hmm.
They showed you the same formation they've been doing the whole drive, and they just motioned the opposite way and ran the same play. Like,
Yep. We didn't
how did
have
we not see that?
anyone. We didn't have anyone on the inside of the guards. It was guard, and center, and we didn't have anybody on our defense in that middle part of the field. There's
Not
no way
one.
you're stopping someone running up the middle on 4th and 1 with not a single person over the center. It's not going to happen.
Not one. But obviously, biggest news about last night, Nico goes down with an upper body injury. We still don't know what that is or what that was. Everything does seem optimistic. Is this Heupel doing his like, oh, you've got a plan for me type thing, or is it real? I mean, I go back and I watch it and I'm like, yes, that hit was disgusting. It was a late hit that they didn't call.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm struggling with how he came back in if he was really that badly injured.
The only thing that makes me feel better that I've seen, and I'm sure y'all have seen it too, the only thing that made me feel better is he was on the field after the game with his family. He had a towel over his head, but he was on the field walking around with his family.
Was he in street clothes?
He was in street clothes, yes, but he was at the game. As the game was over, he was walking out with his family off the field. He just had a towel over his head where he couldn't see. Like no light was coming through, which means thinks it's like concussion protocol.
Everyone is saying it was definitely a concussion for sure. I mean,
and concussions can sometimes happen like what you're talking about, Ruck, where you think you're good, and then like 20-30 minutes later, the dizzies start and you start throwing up or whatever. Concussions can happen like that too. So that's kind of what I felt like it was with him coming back into the game and then all of a sudden being out.
I ain't gonna lie to you right now. If Dylan's watching, which I think he is, Dylan had me tripping last night in Discord.
Hey, that boy Dylan like a GI Joe spy or something. That boy got all the detail, the intel, but man, he telling you everything that the intel's telling. Like he telling you, all right, man, yeah, they talking about this man out here having seizures, which is a possibility. Then they got people talking about broken ribs. We like, boy, Dylan, which one is? He said, hey, I can't tell you exactly what it is yet, but we're gonna keep finding it. You know what I'm saying?
I was tripping.
He had me thinking.
He said, "Bro, I was
getting in a body cast."
He said, "Bro, I was getting so much info at once, I didn't know what to believe." Yeah,
I thought we were going to end up awarding Nico the Purple Heart after listening to Dylan.
Golly, I mean, is it safe to say this? I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now because I think both of you guys will agree with me. We haven't even talked about the game at all together, but There is no way. There is no way I'm not giving Dante Thornton at least 10 targets a game. Somehow.
Oh, absolutely not.
Just throw the ball to
Yeah.
him. Like, I don't even care if it's like just to give it some type of I don't throw the ball his way because the brother ain't dropping nothing.
Yeah.
He's making plays. He's our best receiver.
Yeah.
You got to give him the ball, man. I mean, he comes in and he's the most consistent. He leads the country in yards per catch, if you want to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's got here's what I need y'all to know. He's got 20 catches. 20 for 505 yards and 4 tutties. That's crazy.
Look, in my opinion, if we're doing 3 wide, I want to see Brew and Dante on the outside and Squirrel in the slot. Because now that Squirrel's showing up healthy, Squirrel looked good last night, in my opinion. He looked real good. He wasn't randomly diving for balls he didn't need to dive for.
He
was
did on
catching
the
them and
tutty.
moving. Well, on the tutty, yeah, but
At least he caught it right. He did. That was on that little comeback route on 3rd down. He did fall. He did slip.
He slipped.
But it's all right.
Yeah.
I will say this. He was at least. He did look like he was healthy last night. He was actually going for balls with 2 hands instead of just going after it with that one hand. You know what I mean? Or that one arm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It says it needs to be a 70-30 split with him and Brazil from here on. Basically, Dante and Braz.
Yeah.
The thing about Braz being there is Braz a sophomore, redshirt sophomore. He's gonna play a lot of football for Tennessee. It might not need to be right now, but Dante's our best guy, and he's proven it. 20 catches, 505 yards, 4 tutties, 25.3 average per catch.
Man, our game plan is just so different every game, bro. It drives me crazy sometimes because like you had Kentucky. I mean, tight ends, and then we targeted the tight ends once last night.
Yeah, no, a couple times. Ethan Davis got a screen.
From Gas.
Kisselman got a ball.
It's a nice little screen too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing, though. It shows how versatile we can be because we can attack you any different number of ways. But you said our game plan is different game to game. Hell, our game plan is different drive to drive. We came out throwing it deep a couple of times, and then one time we ran it 7 straight plays, even though we were getting like 2 yards a carry. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and why are we running it 7 straight times and Peyton Lewis is the one getting the carries?
Yeah.
That's when I was like, what? Dylan says Kisselman being underutilized is driving me crazy. You know, I'm saying that about Ethan Davis.
Yeah.
I think Ethan Davis is so freaking good, dude. And we just haven't found ways to get him the ball. He's going to have a game this year. I don't know when it's going to be, but he's going to have that one where he just kind of gets in his bag. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the rest of last night and before, because really everybody's just ready to talk Georgia. I'm gonna remove turn for a second. Everybody wants to talk Georgia. But before we get away from last night, I think the biggest thing we got to figure out is that run D. Like we've been fine all year, but we got to stop getting washed. We got to stop getting pulled. We got to stop getting double teamed. Like get doubled, but like fight through it. I felt like every time we got double teamed last night, it was so sporadic. It didn't make a ton of sense how nobody could like get through it. And we found ourselves so many times washed out of plays and big runs, man, big runs. I just didn't know why. I think that's our biggest thing that we got to fix. The secondary, man, is that they are like that.
Well, the thing I got to say about that is I think for whatever reason, I don't really understand it last night. We were given like way too much respect to the pass against a true freshman quarterback. Now he's probably going to be good. I love the heart he played with because he was giving everything he had last night. Like all due respect, no hate towards him at all. But we were playing like drop back so freaking much when we didn't need to because our secondary is solid this year. Like, you can leave people out there and it'll be fine. Boo Carter is a maniac out there. I would honestly,
I called that.
honestly, man, I'm dropping the ball if he's coming to hit me. I'm not catching that.
Hey, but also I'm mark my words. It might not be Saturday, but he gonna get a punt to the crib.
Bro, he was dangerous in the punt return
Danger.
game.
He won the punt returner job, 100%.
Easy. And his post game was so classic about it. They asked him about it. He was like, he was like, they asked him, does he have the green light to return every punt? And his response was, I don't really have the green light to return every punt. He's like, but I do because I'm trying to get the offense better field positions. He's like, so if I can get it, like, even if it's 5 yards, he's like, I'm trying to get better field position for the offense.
I mean, everybody's hating on that one play that he had, but that's a great football play. I'm sorry.
Which one?
Where it bounces, and it's going to bounce till it's going to keep bouncing, and he catches it and just runs straight out of bounds.
Yep, smart.
Yeah.
It's a great football play, bro.
I mean, that ball was going to get downed at like the 5.
Yeah, and he just catches it and gets straight out of bounds.
Yep. The only punt return I was like, nah, you should have called a fair catch on that one was when there were like 3 Mississippi State players. This is the one where number 9 decided he was going to be all hard and then never see the field again.
Yeah, he started chirping.
Yeah. I was like, that's not the man you want to chirp to be honest with you, because he's going to have an eye out for you for the rest of the game. You better hope you never play on offense.
Yeah.
But man, a couple of times there would be someone running straight towards him, and I would be like, "Oh no, he's about to get blown up," and he would just sidestep like Matador dodging a bull, and that guy would just go flying by him, and he'd get 30 yards. So I get why he returns everyone. Shoot, you could keep doing it.
Dynamic with the ball in his hands. I mean, on the interception, after he caught it, that boy was dipping. He just ran straight into. He said they asked him about it. He was like, "Man, I was trying to get to the house." Hey, he like, "Man, I'd try and get to the house." He said, "But I couldn't see past the lineman." Like, I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "He's like, once I caught it and I got upfield, he's like, man, I couldn't see past the lineman, bro." So, Boo's crazy, and we better love him for the next two years after this, because he's gone for sure. He's just too talented, bro. Way too talented.
Yeah.
He's a freshman doing this. True freshman.
True freshman.
He's gotten better every week, and that's what you want to see. Like, it's a guy now, he's on the field, you don't even think twice. You just trust him. Like, he's gonna have a couple plays. Everybody does. Hey, last thing on last night. Christian Charles should have had 2 picks.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. That boy was going for the hit stick instead of getting the pick.
No kidding.
I was like, bro, you should have had 2 picks. You out here hit sticking people, boy. You could have went to the crib on one of them and then got a pick on another one. So, let's see real quick. Dylan says this: am I crazy to say that Boo may go down as the next? Did you mean Eric? Oh, Evan, as far as returning?
Returning Evan. Defensively, okay. Eric.
I can't go that far yet. But Evan Barry, yeah. Adrian says we need to start blitzing with Boo. We did early.
We did, yeah.
I felt like we did early too, because he was so green to the defense, right? Like, it felt like I guess they were trying to get him going. Like, they would just send him on blitzes early in the season. But now, since I feel like he's settling in, they're doing a lot more zone. He's playing man-to-man more. Like, he's back in coverage more than to be kind of that designated defensive back blitzer type position. Chris says, what was the saying? Can't spell CTE without Christian Charles. God, Lee. Chris, what?
One more thing about last night's game. Yasser Moore came out and did all right. I don't want him to play against Georgia. We won't win if he does. But I think there was definitely evidence he spent too long as Joe Milton's teammate on some of those deep balls.
Hey, he was putting it out there, bro.
He just said, yeet, and just threw it. He said, F it, Dante's down there somewhere. I'm just
throwing that ball type shit.
Yeah, he done it type shit. Hey, when you get behind center of Cooper Mays and Dante out there, you just throw it, Taishi.
You just throw it, Tasty.
Oh my God, y'all! SEC Nation, College Game Day, all in Athens on Saturday night. We thought that this game would be the game of the year for us personally. I think we probably thought we would be 8-1 going into Georgia. I think we all thought we would be 8-1, but we thought that one would have been Bama or Florida or something like that. But here we are, 8-1, lost on the road to Arkansas. And you're playing now a Georgia team who's 7-2, struggling offensively, defensively, looked horrendous against Ole Miss. There are going to be plays out there for Tennessee.
Yeah, here's what I'll say on that offensively. Carson Beck, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. But he was making all those mistakes against 68,000 fans, which apparently is an Ole Miss record, which, great for them that 68,000 is a record. We're going to have about 40,000 more people screaming at him. So he better be prepared.
Well, I wish that it was in Knoxville.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Shoot, I forgot. I did exactly. Who was it? Whoever was commenting in the Mississippi State game said it was in Knoxville. And I was like, that's not, though. But
I wish.
Yeah.
Oh, if we were, I put Brent on this. If we were playing in Knoxville, I'm picking Tennessee to win that easy.
I'm still picking Tennessee to win it easily because I think our defense is better than Ole Miss.
It's such a hard game for me, man. I don't know.
Tough game for me to pick too.
I don't know. And then, like, I know you don't want to think into the future about playoffs and stuff, but like where SEC teams are this year, God, I really don't. I don't want to play with a 10 seed. Like I don't want to play. Like I don't want to lose and maybe not get in. But man, I wouldn't mind a 10 seed, bro, because I mean, ever like playoff, right? ESPN has this thing where you can go click on Tennessee and like you can do the rest of their games. And you can click and see if it makes it to the SEC championship or not, and all this stuff. And man, it's just weird because every time, and it's just weird because every time, I lost train of thought, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
You talking about the ESPN selection?
Oh yeah. So you can go on ESPN, you can click what Tennessee does the rest of the season, and it get at the bottom it says, "Do you make the SEC championship?" And you can click no, you can click yes, and then it gives you an option. If you click yes, do you win it? I don't want a 3. I don't want a top 4 seed, and I really don't want a 5 or 6 because, man, we're Bama and Georgia. I mean, I know they're not as good in the past, but I just don't want to play Bama and Georgia more than once in one season. I'm sorry.
I get that, but I definitely want a top 4 seed. That extra week to get healthy with how much we've been dinged up and right. a home game. Now here's the one way I'll say if we don't have a home game at school is if we end up playing like the Big 12 champion. If we end up playing the Big 12 champion, it's all gravy. Like we getting past that round.
And I think it all depends on how we're playing too when it comes down to the end of the season because I think the top 4 seeds I think it's a great thing, and I'm not saying I don't want a top 4 seed. I would love a top 4 seed. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But man, if you've got momentum and you're playing good, you just don't want to sit there and like that off week. It's like, man, you got 2 weeks off. Like we got some momentum going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and I think too, the biggest thing for me is if you beat Georgia, all you got to do is beat Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. And you're playing for the SEC championship against either Texas or Texas A&M, depending on what happens in that game against Texas and Texas A&M.
And if those are the 2 teams we have to pick from, I'm hoping it's Texas A&M.
I do too. I would love to play Texas A&M. I would not want to necessarily play Texas.
No.
But I really don't want to win. I like the thing about the top 4 seed is the only good thing is the rest, because at the end of the day, when you get to the second round of the playoff, it goes to bowl sites. So like That's cool. And you'll be a top 4 rested for 2 weeks extra. But I don't know, man. I think about when I was playing basketball. I always felt like we were better
Yeah.
when we played first. Like get that kind of nervous energy off of you while that other team just been sitting there chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If we're gonna be one of the teams that's going to a bowl game to play one of the top 4 seeds, I want it to be one of the Big 12 teams
Yes.
or Ohio State.
Yes.
I don't want it. I don't want it to be Texas again or Georgia. Like I want it to be one of those two, or like really, I just don't want it to be an SEC team. I feel like if it's an ACC, Big 12, or Big 10 team, we've got a great chance of making it at least to the quarters or semis.
I agree with you.
That's just how I feel about it. Speaking of Texas, I was thinking about because I'm in Texas visiting my family. We went to watch Texas beat the absolute snot out of Florida, which was a great time. I got a little sunburnt. You can probably tell on my face.
How nice is that stadium?
It's a beautiful stadium. It don't get anywhere near as loud as Neyland does. Like they also wait. It's really weird. They wait to cheer until after the opposing team breaks the huddle, which was strange to me. I tried to get people to cheer while Florida was in their huddle. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, they've already communicated everything they need to communicate by that point in time. So unless they audible the play, y'all screaming at them while they're like lined up, it ain't doing anything. Yeah, you may make someone nervous. They may twitch and get a false start, but like you're not making it difficult for them to know what's going on. But I was thinking about like if Nico did stay for like a redshirt junior year, which he may not, probably won't. But if he did, we could have a game where it's Arch Manning versus Nico. And I would just personally, as a fan of the game of football, would just love to see that game.
Yeah, for sure. Everything about that sounds like pure cinema, bro. You know what I mean? So hit the chat real quick. Chris says UGA has a 61% chance to win, right? Aaron Duck says we're beating whoever is on the bracket. I love that energy, Aaron. Dylan says this. The thing is, no team looks dominant this year. Every team is going to need a ton of luck to win it all. We just got to hope the ball bounces our way a few times. You know, tomorrow night, we're going to dive into who is Georgia. We're going to talk all about who Georgia is, and we'll get into the nitty gritty and the details of this game. But on a Sunday, bro, they got Georgia as a 9.5 point favorite. The over under is 49.5. I feel like that spread is really big, and I think it'll change.
Yeah.
But, man, with how bad Georgia's been playing, this has really been all year, you know, like it's not like they've just been dominating every single game. They gave up 31 points to that team we held to 14 last night.
Yeah. So my thing is, I don't think the spread is necessarily out of hand, like because home team's going to get 3 points, right?
Yeah.
And
easy.
I kind of get Georgia being a 6.5 point favorite, really. Kind of get that, given that their only loss is to Alabama and what they did against Texas. My issue is you have them as 9.5 point favorites, and you have the over under in the 40s against a team that hasn't given up 20 points to anybody.
I know.
Like that math ain't mathin' to me.
Yeah. I mean, right here, Dylan says it. No chance Georgia scores more than 20. That should be the goal for our offense. I guess you meant defense, but
no, I think he means our offense needs to score 20 to win.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. I think if we score 21, we're good.
We win. I think we can, bro. I really can. And I don't want to dive in because I'll start talking all things Georgia. I can't do it. So I'm gonna wait. But tomorrow night, y'all, you already know, man. We back same place, different time, 7:15 Central, 8:15 Eastern. Same time on Mondays. For the Who is Georgia, I got a great scout of Georgia Been working on it for a couple of days now already. But I've got to figure out a couple more things. I got a couple of little nitty gritty things that I want to figure out defensively. Their turnover ratio isn't as good as they've been in the past either. So I want to break that down. But then also talk about how Tennessee can actually go to Athens and win, but we got to get the mojo. Like, we got to get our mojo back and just go do it, because we can. And so C2, you got anything, bro, before we wrap and just get ready for tomorrow, man?
I just look forward to being on the show tomorrow. I don't often get to get on Sundays and Mondays, so I'll be on this Sunday and Monday, and then I'll be on next Sunday after the Georgia game because I'm going to watch the Titans suck in person again. So I'll be home in time for the show.
Oh, man. Y'all, you already know what it is. For Turn, who ain't with us now, for C2, it's your boy Ruckin' the Builder, man. It's straight up Tennessee, baby. Tomorrow night, who is Georgia? 7:15 Central, 8:15 Eastern. Y'all need to know what it is, man. It's straight up Tennessee, baby. We'll see you live tomorrow night.